He came back here a while ago. He said, "Come on, get some of this." Come on. He's one of them, and the other one's old Uncle Matt right here. This guy right here. We get down there in Georgia, and they also got something else in Georgia we ain't got down here. They got these beautiful southern trees. I mean, it's just like out of a movie. They're just beautiful. And all over them, we didn't even know what this was at the time. All over these trees is something called Spanish moss. Anybody else know what? That's wonderful. Well, Matthew comes up with a bright idea, and we was amen, and we thought it was a good idea too. But he's the only one of us that's brave enough to do it, I guess. Yeah. Matthew thought it was a good idea. We hear this turkey gobbling over there. He said, "I'm just going to look at here, boys." And he began to get that Spanish moss out of them trees, and he just put it all over himself. He made a homemade ghillie suit out of that. And he said, "Look at here. Look how camoed I am." Boy, he was all happy. Look at how smart I am. Okay, whatever. Boy, we take off. We get set up on this turkey. I see him back here. He just wasn't comfortable the whole time. So here we go. We got our tail between our legs again. Stop back off there again at that place. Them same old men. We was telling them our story. And I said, "What's this stuff in the trees?" That's Spanish. They said, "That's that Spanish moss." I said, "Well, that's pretty cool." They said, "Yeah." But he said, "Boys, y'all don't mess with that. That's full of the red bugs." I didn't tell him Matthew done dressed himself in it. This story out of story, it didn't start off real well. We go down there and film a week. We think we've got hours of probably Grammy or Emmy award winning footage, We go down there and film this whole week. We kill 2 or 3 turkeys. I don't know what it was. And we take it back to the producers, and we're so proud of ourselves. We're just like, man, there's nothing to this. So proud of ourselves. They had that footage up there about a week, and I get a call from the producers, and I said, "Well, how was it?" He's like, "Well, it was terrible." And I was like, "What?" He said, "We can't use any of this." That's what he said. "We can't use any of it." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "It's almost like y'all know nothing about making a TV show." And we didn't. It took us a while to learn, but God blessed us. And we got to take Jed and Montana and our kids with us and do so much stuff. We got opportunities. We took a lot of the kids from the hospital that we met on hunting and fishing trips, their families, weekend getaways, all that kind of stuff. And God took a bunch of slappies like that. And we had the #1 rated new show on that network. And God just made something awesome. And that story out of story, we told that testimony everywhere we went. I got to go speak at expos, and I got to actually preach a sermon over there in Barton Coliseum, the first one that they ever did over there at the Big Buck Classic. Just all over the country we got to do those things. And everywhere we went, we never tried to make it about hunting or fishing. I didn't want to do that. That was the platform. That's what opened the door, but we wanted to tell them about Jesus. Hunting and fishing is great, and there ain't nobody in this room that likes it more than I do. But that can't save your life. It cannot save your soul. There is only one thing that can do it. My son is a better outdoorsman than I am now, but he is here for one reason and for one reason only, and that's because of Jesus. Reached down and touched him and healed him and gave him that testimony, gave me that testimony, gave us that testimony, and that's one of many testimonies. Just like this man who was born blind, he was allowed to be in that situation just so people could see the glory and the power of God. I'm here to tell you tonight, I'm not going to be real long, but if you're in a situation like that, where you think there is no hope, where you think that there's no way out, there's no answer for it, here's the reality. Sometimes in this life, there is no answer for it. Why did my son have cancer? I have no idea why. I was doing what I knew God wanted me to do. I just started pastoring. I mean, why did we have to go through things? I don't know why. Why does one thing happen this way, another thing happen that way? I don't know why. I don't have the answers as far as this world is concerned. But I know who does. And His name is Jesus. And everything that we need, He provided it at the cross.